Joining me now to weigh in on all of that, Gordon Chang is the author of The Coming Collapse of China. Also with me is Kirk Lippold, the former commanding officer of the U.S.S. Cole. Gentlemen, good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Maria.
Gordon, let me kick it off with you because there was some confusion yesterday about the military exercises. Now, you were first to weigh in on this program yesterday, and you said it was concerning to you that the U.S. and South Korea would stop the military exercises because readiness is so important.
Yes. You know, North Korea has two training cycles, winter and summer, and our big named exercises coincide with theirs. And the reason is that at the end of their exercises, they're in a position to attack. So we want to make sure that we are in a position to deter and, if necessary, defend. And that's why it's so important that we have Key Resolve and Foul Eagle, which correspond with the winter training cycle, and Ulchi Freedom Guardian, which is coming up, which corresponds with the end of the summer training cycle. Absolutely necessary to defend ourselves.
What about that, Commander? Secretary Pompeo is expected to brief the president of South Korea, President Moon, tomorrow on the summit. What are you expecting from the meeting, especially after Vice President Mike Pence is telling lawmakers that the readiness preparations with South Korea will continue?
I think what you're going to see, and I'd agree with Gordon, while these exercises are important, we've also been working with the South Koreans for literally decades in these exercises to ensure that we maintain the readiness between our two nations to respond to any type of aggression from North Korea. By actually not doing the exercises, but continuing to have the coordination at the staff level and work it so that we can respond to these, I don't see this as a problem. It is an olive branch by President Trump that clearly is going to indicate that now North Korea is going to have to come up with the technical and verifiable means as we denuclearize and go through the talks. But the United States is in a good position because we can always re-implement these exercises.
So I want to ask you both the same question. How do we verify? I mean, you know, it's been impossible to get a compliment from the left on President Trump and what he has been able to achieve in North Korea. And they keep saying nothing was done and we have to see, you know, the details. How do you verify, Gordon? Are we going to be able to do that?
Yeah, we will be able to do that because what we saw, that joint statement yesterday, that is just, as Bob Nardelli says, a term sheet.
Right.
You know, what we're going to have is a formal agreement. That agreement, I'm confident, will have not only denuking, as the president says, also ballistic missiles, but also verification. And we have to have a strict regime. Remember, the president pulled out of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the Iran nuclear deal, in part because of the inspection problem. The Iranians say you can't look at our military bases. So it has got to be at least as good as the inspections regime in the Iran deal.
Yeah, you make a great point. And why don't you, Commander, weigh in on that, the similarities or differences in terms of the Iran deal, pulling out of it, and what we saw in North Korea?
I think the Iran deal is going to be a great learning point for us. It's not just going to be getting rid of the nuclear weapons. I think the American people need to understand that from the beginning we're going to need a technically verifiable situation where we can find out where were the research and development facilities, where were the processing facilities, where were the assembly facilities, where did they mate up with the missiles and what missiles are they using, so that we can make sure that all these facilities are located, verified, and then dismantled so the entire program is in fact taken down and not just get rid of the nuclear weapons themselves. And a key verification is that this is going to be, to a degree, sharing it with the 800-pound gorilla in the room that hasn't been present at all, and that's China. China knows what they have. China knows where it is, and it's going to be incumbent upon us to work with China to ensure that they verify what the North Koreans are telling us and that we have a clear accountability. If they do not do it, what will happen as a result?
China has been helpful to this point. No, Gordon?
Well, if we look back, let's say 3-4 years, China's sanctions enforcement so much better than it was then. But if you go back 3 or 4 months, it is markedly deteriorated, and you can go across the board. And it's not only that they are now busting sanctions, but they're doing it openly and blatantly, essentially challenging President Trump.
Wow.
So this is going to be an important thing for us because we've got to make sure that, you know, as we talk to the North Koreans, the Chinese don't continue, and this is also true for the Russians, that they don't continue to funnel money to North Korea in violation of those UN rules.
You know, the president has pushed back on China, on trade, on the fact that they steal our intellectual property. All of these issues, to me, Commander, are so extraordinary. And yet the country remains divided. You know, you would think at this moment in time, when we've got such enormous issues at hand, that the country would stand behind this president. You know, Commander Lippold, I spoke with Senator Lindsey Graham, on Sunday Morning Futures this weekend, and his main message was, now is the time to get behind President Trump. Listen to this.
To every Democrat and Republican, you need to help the president where you can, not undercut him. Writing a letter telling him what a good deal it should be is good, only if you're willing to back it up with the use of military force. I'm asking every Democrat who wrote that letter and all my Republican colleagues to tell North Korea and China that if diplomacy fails, we will have the president's back. We'll authorize to use military force as a last resort to stop the nuclear threat in North Korea to the American homeland and the world at large.
Reaction, Commander.
I think he's absolutely right. At this point, you have to remember, North Korea is the only country in our history that has threatened the United States with the offensive use of nuclear weapons. That is an inviolate red line. That's why the program needs to be dismantled. And at the end of the day, China will also play games. We may work in the economic front. They sit and continue to arm up the islands in the -9 lines in the South China Sea that will project power out there and serve as a force of intimidation through all those islands as well as the region itself to exercise influence. So this is going to be comprehensive.
Yeah.
It is going to affect more than just the United States and North Korea.
Well, look,
there are going to be ripple effects. China has to be part and parcel, an absolute partner in getting this agreement to come through in a technically verifiable manner that takes down those nuclear weapons. And if they don't do it, they're going to have to be held to account for any sanctions that are put in place.
And I recognize China has been helpful up until now getting Kim Jong-un to the table. But the truth is China is stealing from the United States and has been for decades. And they still won't admit that they steal our intellectual property, that they force the transfer of technology. I actually have an op-ed on this out this morning in Real Clear Politics, talking about the crown jewels of this country. And that is technology that they continue to steal. How do you stop that?
Well, you stop that by imposing costs on China, which are at least as great as the benefits that they get. And those benefits are a lot, because the IP Commission, in their 2017 update to the report, said that the U.S. each year loses somewhere between $225 to $600 billion in IP theft. Not all of that is China, but most of it is, which means, you know, $50 billion in tariffs, that's great, but that is not going to be enough to stop China. Remember,
exactly.
Maria, we have an innovation economy. If we don't have the benefits of our innovation, we don't have an economy.
And they want to be number one in things like AI and blockchain and all this other stuff that we want to be number one in. General, thank you.